I'd like to give a special shout out to Jim Coleman Toyota of Bethesda, Maryland for letting me come film the 2017 Land Cruiser today. So here's the key fob for the Land Cruiser with your lock, unlock, and panic button. And the Land Cruiser comes standard with the smart key access system, so just make sure that it's locked. Put the key in your pocket or anywhere on you, and just open the door like you normally would. And then to lock it, press a little indentation on the top of the door handle. Wait a second, and then it unlocks. Getting inside of the Land Cruiser, you see you have a black leather interior with a 10-way power driver's seat, and you have a 3-person memory for your driver's seat and the steering wheel, which is power. All 4 windows are automatic. And I really like this wood trim and the aluminum trim too. Here are all of the buttons for your stability control, headlamp washers, parking sensors, your power mirror controls. The mirrors are also power folding. And here's your trip computer settings. And here's your tilt and telescopic power steering wheel. And you have this aluminum Land Cruiser badging on the door sill. And it's really high up. I like that. I like being high up in trucks like this. So to start the Land Cruiser, just make sure that the key's anywhere, put your foot on the brake, and press the start button to go.
You are lucky.
You have this 4-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel with wood trim. And on the left side of the steering wheel, you have your voice control, audio controls, volume controls, and your Bluetooth hands-free link buttons. And on the right, you have your menu selection buttons for your heads-up display and everything like that. And you have your cruise control stock with your lane keep assist and your lane departure warning buttons. And looking at your gauges, you have your temperature gauge for your oil and engine, and you have your voltage gauge and your fuel gauge. To the left of that is your speedometer and your tachometer, and you have this center screen which you use those buttons to control it. So here you have your fuel consumption, your range, eco indicator, your speedometer, your sway warning, your wheel and tire status, your tire pressure monitor, your oil maintenance, your compass, here's your audio, your lane keep assist, your messages and warnings, and here your system settings. Here's your adaptive cruise control and your collision mitigation braking button. Here are your headlight controls, and here are your wiper controls. Coming to the center stack, you have this really nice high quality 8-inch touchscreen display with Entune and navigation. You also have a 14 speaker 605 watt JBL premium audio system with 1 subwoofer, with your Entune app suite. And here's your fuel consumption, which shows you everything. And here's your real-time traffic, which if you're setting a destination, it'll tell you, and it'll give you different routes. Here's your audio. With all your different sources and everything. It has Bluetooth connectivity, aux jack, and USB. You also have Bluetooth phone connectivity as well. And here are all of your vehicle settings and everything like that for your headlights. Down here you have this 4-zone automatic climate control. So it's for the driver's side front and rear and the passenger side front and rear. And down here are your volume and power controls and your tune selection controls. Here's a micro SD card slot for your navigation system. Now down here you have a 12-volt power outlet with a little center console that you could fit your phone in. And here at the bottom you have your buttons for your heated and ventilated passenger and driver's seats. You also have a heated steering wheel, and all the way to the right is your USB and auxiliary jack. Now here's your parking brake. And when you shift it into reverse, you have a 360-degree round view camera. And the Land Cruiser has an 8-speed automatic transmission, which you can shift manually. Now at the bottom, you have your electronic power button, which increases the shift points, your second gear power button, traction control and diff lock button, and here's your crawl control selection. You also have turn assist and hill descent control. Here's your 4-wheel drive select with your high 4 and your low 4. And here's your spacious glove box. I mean, you could fit an iPad in there if you wanted to. And the whole dash is soft touch. Now coming to the center console, you have this little tray at the top. And you have this cool box. So the LX570 also has this cool box, and it's a really handy feature. And you also have rubber floor mats, which come standard with the Land Cruiser. And here's a demonstration of your power folding mirrors. Now coming to the back of the Land Cruiser, you still have the same wood trim, accents and everything, the same black leather interior, automatic windows, the rear seats also recline, and here are your dual DVD/media screens with a remote and wireless headphones. Now getting in the back, here are your temperature controls with your vents and everything. You also have dual stage heated rear seats as well. And to the bottom of that, here are your audio controls for your headphones and HDMI. And you have a 12-volt power outlet. I have good legroom in the back as well, with the front seat pushed all the way back. You also have dual LED dome lights for your rear passengers. And up front, here are your sunroof controls. Also, here are your wireless headphones. And coming to the center console, the rear seats are 40-20-40 split. And you have a little center console that you could fit your wireless remote in. And other stuff like a phone. That folds right back. Now the third row is 50-50 split. And you also have cup holders and air vents in the back too. Now behind the third row you have 15.5 cubic feet of volume. Behind the second row you have 41 cubic feet of volume. And you have 83.1 cubic feet of volume with the second and third rows folded. Now coming to the front end of the Land Cruiser, you have LED low beams and high beams with LED daytime running lights and LED fog lights. I really like the front end of the new Land Cruiser. You also have headlamp washers, and you have a front end camera. That's also where the radar cruise control sensor is. Here are your 18-inch alloy wheels with 4-wheel disc brakes. And coming to the side, here are your wing mirrors that have LED turn signals built in. They are power folding and power adjusting. You also have side steps and chrome trim. Now coming to the back, you have full LED taillights with halogen turn signals and reverse lights. And here's your single tip exhaust with your dual reflectors. And the Land Cruiser tows up to 8,100 pounds. Here are your parking sensors too. I really like the rear end and the taillights. You also have an integrated spoiler with third brake light. You also have mud flaps, which is really handy. And your fuel filler cap is on the right side. Just a quick note. And coming to the passenger side, here are your 8-way power adjustable passenger seat. Still heated and cooled and leather. Now coming under the hood of the Land Cruiser, the Land Cruiser comes standard with this 5.7 liter dual overhead cam 32 valve V8 with variable valve timing that makes 381 horsepower at 5600 RPM and 401 pound-feet of torque at 3600 RPM. Now this is going to a full-time 4-wheel drive system with a 2-speed transfer case, and you should be expecting about 13 miles per gallon in the city and 18 in the highway. I know that doesn't sound great, but for the weight of this thing, I would say it's acceptable. And if you bought a Land Cruiser, or if you're buying one, gas mileage should not be, or I don't think it should be, the number one priority of a full-size SUV. I mean, that's not why we bought our 4Runner. Now talking about suspension, the Land Cruiser has independent front suspension, which is double wishbone with coil springs and a stabilizer bar. And it has 4-link rear suspension with a solid axle, and KDSS, which is Toyota's kinetic dynamic suspension system, which increases the shock pressure between both sides of the SUV, which should decrease body roll and help off-road performance. Now the Land Cruiser has 4-wheel disc brakes with solid rear brakes and ventilated front brakes. Now the size between the 2015 and 16 Land Cruiser hasn't changed at all. All it is just a change of the front end, the rear end, the wheels, and the interior. Now if you would ask me if it's worth buying this new or buying a used one, I would say yes, because with the current gen Land Cruiser, I actually feel like I'm sitting in $85,000. The old one, it was like $70,000, but I didn't feel, like I was driving something worth that much money. But Toyota did a great job with this Land Cruiser. So since the Land Cruiser is in the full-size luxury SUV segment, it would compete with other trucks like the 2017 Lexus LX570, the 2017 Infiniti QX80, the 2017 Land Rover Range Rover, the 2017 Cadillac Escalade, and the 2017 Lincoln Navigator. But in my own honest opinion, the only full-size SUVs that would be off-road capable amongst these 6 would be the Land Cruiser and the Range Rover. Everything else has low approach and departure angles. They're not that great. They're long. And they'll just get bogged down easily. Anyways, thanks for sticking to the end of this video, and I hope you all enjoyed getting up close and personal with the 2017 Toyota Land Cruiser. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below.